Okay, let's get this beautiful class on its way. So we're beginning in child's pose. If you need to have any blocks, any straps, any props nearby for today's practice, this is a great time to make sure that you have those near you. Child's pose, knees are nice and wide. Big toes are touching behind you as you start to come forward and reach out. Remember, it's totally fine if your sits bones do not reach your heels. You may notice with each one of your exhales, the body will begin to soften. Maybe it'll take some time for the knees to respond as well. It might take some time for the quads to respond. The musculature in the front and the back of the thighs. And also the hips. And you might notice that it might take an extra few breaths to really get your elbows to come down, for the body to soften enough, maybe for the forehead to reach the mat. Each exhale will make the body land a little bit more heavily. Each inhale, feeling the expansion of the rib cage, as maybe the ribs might press towards the insides of your legs. Et on essaie de nous relâcher un petit peu plus avec chaque expiration pour un autre 3 respirations complètes. 3 full breaths. And completely your choice here if you want to breathe in and out through the nose or if you want to exhale out the mouth. C'est plutôt durant la pratique qu'on essaie le plus possible de respirer par le nez. At this point, I'm going to invite you to pick up your gaze, look towards your hands. Take your time as you may need to, and you can walk your hands over to the right side of your mat, feeling a little bit more of an extension through the left side of the body. Keep pushing that left knee into the mat. On pousse également le genou gauche dans le tapis pour trouver de la longueur à côté de nos corps. Un autre 2 more breaths here. Encore, on garde vers nos mains, on marche au milieu, walking through center, and then over to the left side. Maintenant, côté gauche. On va trouver de la longueur cette fois-ci sur le côté droit de nos corps. So right side body extension, pressing in that right knee into the mat and trying to draw the right armpit down as much as you can. Another 2. Making your way back through center, you can take a final breath here if you'd like. And then when you're ready, finding your way very nice and slowly into a tabletop pose. Starting to pick up and shift the body weight forward. Really take your time, trying to ease the hips and the knees into this transition. Walk the knees a little bit closer together. On veut marcher les genoux ensemble un petit peu plus. Knees under hips. Hands underneath your shoulders. Take a gaze forward to neutralize the spine for a moment. And then when you're ready, dropping the belly with intention, feeling the stomach expand as you open up the heart, look up to the sky. Really nice curvature in the spine. And then exhale, belly button sucks upwards, dropping the head down between the arms, shoulders out of the ears. Encore un autre 2 fois, on dépose le ventre avec intention. If you just dump the belly down, it's really going to create this unwanted kind of shock in the spinal cord. Expiration, nombril vers la colonne vertébrale. Et la tête tombe entre les bras. This is a really nice slow cat-cow. Last one, drop the belly. Curvature in the spine as you pick up the gaze to look up, press the floor away from you. Exhale and round into the spine. Travel through a neutral spine, flat back. Crown of the head reaches forward, curl into the toes, and then just send the hips up high, nice and easy. Easy does it. On veut toujours pousser également dans les 10 doigts, always pressing equally in through the hand, left and right. You can always pick up your heels and drop them down, just to explore the space that you're feeling behind the legs. Always remember it's fine if the heels don't touch the floor. And with ease, so whatever that means, if you need to take tiny steps or bigger steps towards your wrists as you walk up, maybe lifting the palms off the floor and then peeling the belly away from the thighs to find a halfway lift. So find the entirety of that inhale. And then exhale, hinge at the hips and really fold heavily, maybe even bending into the knees. 2 more times, breathe in, halfway lift, flat back. Press the hands into the knees or into the floor to really pull the heart through the arms. And then exhale, hinge at the hips, bring the weight into the toes, fold. Let's find that last one. Inhale, flat back. Un demi-remonté, le dos est complètement plat, 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 plat. Et on plonge, expiration. I invite you to bend into the knees slightly so that you can cushion this rise as you slowly roll up très lentement. On déroule. Once you've reached the top, roll your shoulders back, creating a lot of pride, opening in the chest. Finding that flow progression, so step to the top of your mat. Inhale, reach your arms up to the sky. Maybe you find a teeny tiny back bend here as you reach the thumbs back. And then hinge at the hips, keep your hands in prayer. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift, demi-remontée. Et on plonge simplement, fold here, exhale. Inhale brings us all the way to rise. Circle the arms up high to the sky, hands in prayer. Exhale, hands to heart center. So your thumbs are going to press into your sternum. Inhale, arms come up, breathe in. And then hinge at the hips, exhale, fold. We're gonna add a little bit more to this one. Breathe in, halfway lift, un demi-remonté, le dos est plat. Tabletop pose, hands and knees down, exhale. Come into that back bend, drop the belly, cow pose, curve in the spine, look up. And then travel through a flat back and then round slightly, curl into the toes, downward facing dog, exhale. Take a breath in. And a breath out. Coming high to the toes, bend the knees, step, step, or walk to your hands, finding a halfway lift, breathe in. Exhale, fold. We're gonna keep the right hand down at center here. Bend into your knees if you need to, and then just simply peel open the left arm high to the sky, twisting the chest. It's okay to let the knees, or the right knee in this case, extend past the left. We try to avoid this in chair, but this time we're just gonna twist into the chest. Breathe in here, on inspire. Et on remet la main sur le tapis, on expire, come back down. Other side, left hand down, breathe in, peel the right side away, bend into your knees as much as you'd like. If you're looking for a yummy stretch behind the legs, then you can work on lengthening them, never locking the knees. Take a breath in, and exhale, right hand comes down. Encore, demi-remontée, we're working on that nice flat back, breathe in, inhale, exhale, fold. On inspire, circle up the arms, root to rise. Hands to heart center, exhale. Bring your hands to your hips, take a really nice big step back with your left foot, keeping your right foot planted on the floor. Keeping the back left heel lifted, you might have to shimmy your toes forward slightly. We're finding a nice lunge position. Fait qu'ici, c'est normal avec le pied gauche en arrière que le hanche lui suit. On veut essayer de égaler les hanches. So square off your hips forward, keeping that right knee dropping right onto the ankle. Sweep the arms up for your high lunge. And then drop the shoulders out of the ears. You might want to soften the back knee slightly so that we make sure that the spine is really nice and tall, and try not to dump out the belly in front. So we're not squeezing the shoulder blades, we're actually melting them down the back. Take 2 more. Without locking the knee, on the inhale, press into the foot, lengthen the front leg. And as you breathe in, come back down. Keep your arms straight. We're keeping that high lunge back. Breathe in, lift. Exhale, come back down. We're gonna do 1 more. Breathe in, rise. And exhale. Bringing the hands to heart center, you're going to soften the back knee and spring yourself up, bending into the left knee. Breathe in. Exhale, toppling tree, kick it back. Hold for 1 full cycle, breath in and out. If you want to soften your landing, you can bring your hands down to the floor, bending into the right knee, step back with the left foot, breathe in, sweep the arms up. And now crescent lunge, bend into the elbows, squeeze the shoulder blades, open up that heart. On garde vers le ciel, mais pas trop pour que le cœur, il batte un petit peu trop vite. You don't want your heartbeat to rise. Just looking up a little bit, breathe in and out. Breathe in, press into the right foot, rise, lengthening the legs, lengthening the arms. And then soften the front knee, bend back into it, drop the hands down. Step back into our first plank. Take a deep breath in. Drop down onto your knees, elbows glued to the sides, modified chaturanga here. 3, baby cobra. Breathe in, squeeze your elbows to the sides, press the tops of the feet into the mat. Exhale, release the effort. On va faire ça un autre 2 fois. On inspire, on colle les coudes sur les côtés, puis on pousse les pieds dans le tapis. On expire et on relâche. Last time, pressing the pelvis into the mat. That's what's gonna lift up your heart as you squeeze, 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 squeeze the shoulders. Exhale, release the effort. Hands are underneath your shoulders. Curl into the toes. Breathe in, plank pose. Use your knees if you need to. And then hinge at the hips. Exhale, downward dog. Take 2 here. In through the nose and out the mouth. Another. Again, coming high to the toes, bend the knees, step, step, or walk. Try to avoid floating right away. Halfway lift, le dos est plat, 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 flat, flat back. Hinge and fold. Always remember, you can soften the knees a little bit if you need to for this rise as you breathe in. And hands to your heart, exhale. Same thing on the other side. So the hands are gonna come to the hips. We're gonna keep the left foot forward, this time stepping back, a nice juicy big step. Take your time to set up. You also might wanna cushion that. You don't have to take 1 big step. It could be a few little steps. And the hands always start on the hips to guide those hips forward. Soften the back knee if you need to. And remember, we're not dumping the belly. We're keeping everything pulling up. So arms come to rise. And just for good measure, always make sure that the elbows, sorry, not the elbows, the shoulders drop out of the ears. Try to think of the energy that's happening in the back foot. Think of the energy that's traveling through your back leg, and think of the balance that's being created in the front. We're gonna do 3 with movement, keeping the back straight, arms straight, just press into that left foot, breathe in, lengthen. Exhale, sink back down. Try to hit that 90-degree, knee above the ankle. Encore un autre 2 fois. On inspire, on trouve de la longueur dans la jambe en avant, puis on expire et on descend. Last one, breathe in, up. Exhale, come back down. So this again is a modified variation. Either you could bring your hands to your heart and pop right up, or you could bring your hands down and you can kind of step yourself up if you need to, and then bring your right knee in line with you. So there's always modifications and variations possible. Exhale, kick the right leg back, flexion toujours dans le pied en arrière, et on essaie de fermer le hanche. One breath, fully in and out through the nose. Now again, options to bring the hands to the floor if you need to, softening that front knee, letting the right foot drop back. Breathe in, sweep it up. Crescent lunge, drop those elbows in line with the shoulders. Fait que les coudes sont en ligne avec les épaules et on ouvre la poitrine le plus possible. One full breath. Good. Inhale, pressing yourself up. Exhale, soften back into that front knee. Hands come down, come back into that plank. Modify it, so we're going to drop down onto the knees and guide your torso down. On inspire, on lève seulement la poitrine, on colle les coudes vers les côtés. Baby cobra. Exhale, release the effort. Plank for our inhale. You can always travel through the knees if you need to. On that inhale, come up. And then exhale, send the hips up high, downward dog. 2 breaths. Bringing the big toes to touch, right leg rises high to the sky, breathe in. And then bring your knee to your nose, exhale. 2 more times, total of 3. On inspire, jambe droite vers le ciel. Et genou droit vers le nez, on expire. Last one, up. And exhale, knee to nose and hold it here. Press into the hands, lift up the hips. Bring your right foot to the middle or center of your hands. We're going to breathe in, sweep your arms up. And we're going to twist towards the right side. Exhale, so try to open up that back arm as much as you can. Take a deep breath in. Maybe deepen that twist, exhale. Come back to center, breathe in, arms up. And we're gonna twist over to the left side. Take your time, making sure that that knee is opening up away from you and finding the widest extension you can for your arms. Breathe in, come back to center. Press into the right foot as you lengthen your front leg and find warrior 2. Turn the back toes 90 degrees and sink down into the front knee. Good. We're going to find a little bit of movement. Both palms turn to the sky. Breathe in, lengthen the front leg. Look up as your hands meet the sky. On revient dans notre guerrier 2, warrior 2. Exhale, drop down. 2 more times. Breathe in, up. Exhale, drops it back down. Last one, come up. And exhale, drop back down into the front knee. Good. Reach forward with the right fingertips. Exhale, bring your elbow to your right thigh. Reaching your left fingertips to the sky. You can look up or you can look in front of you. If it's part of your practice to drop that right arm, maybe letting it trace the inside of your right leg, maybe bringing the hand to the floor, that's totally your choice. We have 2 more here. Try to keep that yummy bend in the knee. Come back into a warrior 2. And then bring your hands to your hips. Straighten your front leg. This might feel quite delicious. And we're gonna turn onto the toes. So now the toes are facing the length of our mat. We're gonna find a wide-legged forward fold as you squeeze the shoulders, hands are on the hips, look up. Keeping a micro bend in the knees always as you hinge at the hips and slowly fold forward. Remember, this is a great place for blocks, bringing the floor closer to you. If the floor is accessible, you can always change the distance between your feet. And what we're trying to do as much as possible is we're trying to, I'm going to turn so that we can see this, but we want to try to bring the hips stacked with the ankles, which is why we try to bring more weight into the toes. You're going to take 2 more here. We've been working quite significantly on the legs today. Think of spreading the sits bones apart. One last breath. Slowly find your way into a halfway lift from your forward fold, and then walk towards your right foot, turning onto your right heel. On vient sur le talon, côté droit, et les orteils en arrière. So you come onto your left toes, and both hands are on the inside of your right leg for your low lunge. Take 3. You can keep the back knee active or passive. I really leave this up to you. Nice and slowly walk the right foot in between the hands, pied droit entre les deux mains, excuse-moi. On vient sur les orteils en arrière, so you're going to lift up the back, come onto the back toes, lift up the hips, soften your back knee and spring up. You might need 1 or 2 steps. And we're going to find our halfway lift, le demi-remonté. On expire et on plonge. Inhale to rise. Hands to heart center, exhale. Let's do a full sun salutation to flush that side out. Breathe in, arms up, circle them to the sky. You can keep your hands in prayer, or if you'd like to, swan dive, open up the arms, hinge at the hips, fold. On inspire pour notre demi-remontée, halfway lift. Exhale, we find our plank pose, step back. I'm leaving this up to you, with or without the knees. Chaturanga, we're pretty warm now. Breathing in, upward dog or baby cobra. Your choice. Exhale, either traveling through the knees or not. Down dog. Take a deep breath in. Let it go. 3 knee to nose on the opposite side. Left leg up, pied gauche vers le ciel. On expire par la bouche. Out the mouth. 2 more. Up. Knee to nose. Hold it here, press into the hands, lift up the hips, and then we're gonna bring that left foot forward. Good, breathe in, arms come up. And exhale, drop into your, low lunge. We're gonna take a breath in, and we twist over to the left side. So open up your arms, twisting the entire torso, trying to keep that 90-degree bend. 1 full cycle, in. And out. Breathing back to center. Open up to the right. Open up those arms as much as you can. And try to open up that knee away from your midline. In. And out. Inhale brings us back to center. Pressing into that foot, come up slightly with that left leg. And you can turn into your back toes and come back into warrior 2, 3 times. Flip the palms, breathe in. Lengthen the front leg, don't lock it. Guerrier 2, expiration. Un autre 2 fois, les 2 mains vers le ciel en prière. Et on expire, guerrier 2. Last one, up. And back down. Reach the fingertips forward, send those hips back on the right, left elbow to the left thigh, right fingertips high to the sky. Again, always remember, we have elbow here, we have arm flush. If it's accessible, you could bring your hand to the floor, but always remember to listen to your sides. Fait que pour moi, cette côté ici, le hanche est un peu plus tense. This side, I'm using the most modified variation because I've had a little bit of tension here in the hip flexor. Nice and slowly come back into your warrior two. Breathe in. Hands to your hips. Press into that front foot. Exhale. That should feel really nice. Turn onto the heel again in our wide-legged forward fold. This is the second time we come to it now with both hips a little bit more open. Squeeze. Breathe in. Look up. Hinge at the hips. Micro bend in the knees. Exhale. You can drop the hands. You can always grab for your ankles. Find a variation that suits you. You can even walk through your legs if that feels nice. Your tips pointing away from you. Wade into the toes as much as you can. Last two. Whether you need those blocks or not, come back to that halfway lift. Never be ashamed of using props. Please, please, please. Come back to center as you walk towards the left foot now, turning onto your right back toes. Find the variation for low lunge that suits you best here and now. Fait que soit le genou en l'air ou le genou droit dépose sur le tapis pour une variation un peu moins intense. Let yourself take two more. Très lentement, le pied gauche entre les deux mains. So we're slowly going to walk the left foot in between the two hands. We're going to curl into the back toes, lift up the hips, soften the back knee, and spring once or twice to your feet, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale rises us all the way up to the sky. Hands to heart center, exhale. We're gonna flush that out with two consecutive flows, so one into the next. Breathing in, arms to rise. You can keep your feet about hips width distance to keep balance. Exhale, hinge at the hips and fold. Inhale lifts us up halfway. Exhale, step or hop back into your plank pose with or without the knees, chaturanga. Upward dog or baby cobra, breathing us in. Chien à tête inversée, on expire, les hanches vers le ciel. On inspire par le nez. On ouvre la bouche puis on expire. Traveling to your hands, high to the toes, bend the knees, step, step, walk, or now you can float, halfway lift. Hinging at the hips to fold. We're gonna go right into that flow, bend into the knees. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, hinge and fold. Inhale, halfway lift, le demi-remonté ici, le dos est plat. Expiration, position de planche, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, breathe in. Downward dog, let it go, take two. It's been a moment since we've worked a little bit on our abdominals, so we're gonna find our plank pose. We've done this before. You can always come down onto your knees for a modified variation. What we do, I'll show the modified variation. It's the same thing on the feet, but we're gonna start bending into the right knee. So if you're here into a plank, you're actually gonna lift up your knee. If you're on your knees, keep the knee on the floor, bend into the right knee, and you're just gonna swing to the left side to tap the right toes, and then come back to center. Same thing, other side, bending into the left, and letting the hips kind of come down a little bit. Feel that extension. If you're in plank, bending into the knee, Exhale, tap. You're going to feel a little bit more in the obliques. Back to center. Inhale, bend the left side. Exhale, tap it to the right. One more time, each side. Middle, breathe in, bend the right knee. Exhale, toes tap. Slow exhale. Come back to center, breathe in. Last one, left knee bends, tapping, exhale. Back to center, breathe in your plank. Exhale, drop down onto your knees. Close-legged child's pose, so the knees are together. Sitting back towards your heels, you can keep your arms long, or if you're like me, my favorite, I like to reach around grabbing for my feet, or just grabbing for the back of the body. Let ourselves breathe here for another 2 or 3. If this is too much for the upper body, you can always open up your legs slightly to give some space for your torso to melt. Always remember that there's many options. We want you to be able to breathe, recharge, relax, reset, recenter. Good. Slowly coming out of that, très lentement, on revient sur nos mains et nos genoux, hands and knees, tabletop pose. If you need to, you can take a second to bring the tops of your hands down onto the mat so that your palms are facing the sky and your fingertips are pointing towards your knees. So your hands would look like this instead of always being like that. This is a really nice way to stretch out the wrists if you feel like you need it for a second. And then when you're ready, meeting us in a down dog, hips up high, shoulders out of the ears. Again, coming high to the toes, bending the knees. Step, step, walk or float, halfway lift. Fold, grabbing onto your elbows, coming into a ragdoll pose. So the head is heavy. Crown of the head is facing down. Bend into the knees as much as you need to. Last one. On relâche nos mains, fait que les mains viennent sur le tapis et on marche les pieds ensemble, les orteils ensemble, mais on garde un petit espace entre les talons. So your heels are slightly separated, but your big toes are touching. There's only one pose that calls for this, bending into the knees, finding our chair pose as you sweep your arms back. And then up, breathe in. Exhale, squeezing the thighs and sinking into your chair pose. Try to sit back just a little bit. Maybe lifting up your toes to activate some of the musculature in your shins. So right at the front of your legs. Trying to bring the tailbone down, lifting up through the pelvis. Take a deep breath in. Hands to heart center, exhale. Puff up the chest in pride. And then exhale, twist over to the right side. So your left elbow or forearm is going to connect. If the forearm connects, then you might want to twist fully and reach the right fingertips to the sky. If you just want to keep your hands in prayer and trying to even out those knees, take 2. Let's come out of that twist all the way up to the sky. Breathe in, relieve a bit of tension from the quads. Open up the hands, shoulders with distance. Exhale, sink back into your chair. Hands come to your heart. Breathe in. Twist again to the right. Exhale. Keep the elbow or the forearm into the thigh. Lifting up your left heel, bringing all the weight into your right foot, and then slowly extending that left leg back. Coming into a twist here. So bringing hands in prayer. Maybe you open up. Take a deep breath in and out. Hands come back to your heart. Come back to center. Breathe in. Drop the hands down. Step back into plank and chaturanga. Exhale with or without the knees. In, lifting up the heart, whether in baby cobra or upward dog. Chien à tête inversée, downward dog, let it go. Take a deep breath in and out. Good. Now I'm gonna leave this up to you. You can lift up the toes, lift up the heels, and you can walk slowly. You can take a nice big hop to your hands. You can float. Take your time, move your legs, see how they feel, and then meet in a halfway lift. Notre demi-remontée, on inspire. Exhale and fold. Let's allow for a full extension. Come all the way up, breathe in. Hands to your heart, let it go. Take two here, thumbs into the sternum or even dropping your arms down by your side. 2 full breaths in stillness. If you need to, whenever you need to during practice, if it feels a little mechanical and you need to shake out your limbs a little bit, just do what feels right. Do what your body is kind of calling for. Again, we're gonna come back into that chair pose. So big toes touching, heels separating, bending into the knees, sweep the arms back and then bring them up. Exhale to sink into our chair. Again, if you need to, hand on the back and hand on the pelvis just to tuck and lift if you need to. Hands in prayer in front of the chest, breathing in, kind of puff it out a little bit in pride. And then exhale, twist over to the left. Right elbow or forearm hook. Take 1 full breath here in this twist. Try to even up the knees. Bum is always lower than the head in chair. And then bring the weight into the left foot. Fait que très, très, très lentement, c'est le pied droit qui vient en arrière. On garde le pied gauche en avant et on essaie de décoller nos ventres de nos cuisses. If it's possible, try to release your belly from kind of adapting onto that thigh. You should feel it in the core for sure by now. Come back to center. Breathe in. You can reach your arms up. And then exhale, hands come down, step back into your plank, modified or not, always your choice, chaturanga. Upward dog or baby cobra, breathing in. And downward. Sorry, yeah, you can release it and then find your downward dog. Exhale. Take a breath in and out. So from here, we're gonna open up the feet nice and wide, about the distance of your mat. And from here, you're gonna walk up to your hands. I'm going to turn, but you're going to stay where it is that you are. We're kind of finessing ourselves into a yogi squat. If you need a block, which I'm gonna run and get for myself, so I can show y'all. So from here, you're gonna start finessing yourself down. Now, if you need that block, that's where it comes in between your feet. And you start to slowly lower yourself and use whichever height you may need. Now, once you use the block, if you are using one, you don't want to have it be fully weight bearing. You want it to be there as accountability, but there's a hovering that's happening here. Elbows are on the inside of the knees and we're trying to open up. If this is too much, the hands can come down onto the floor and you're still going to be working your legs. I promise if anyone is using this variation, they're going to nod their head. But you're going to sink the hips lower and lower, but you have this space here. The floor is closer to you. We worked quite a bit on the hips to get us here. So take your time. We're going to hold for another 3 full cycles. If you need to remove the block after a breath or 2, you may. This is where we try to soften the facial features. They tend to scrunch up a little bit. So get that softness in there. Really send that breath up the passageways in the nasal canal. And then send that air to the back of the throat as you breathe out. And you slowly shift the body weight forward, really, 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 really slowly. Take your time to get out of that. You can press Up into a wide-legged forward fold. And then start to walk the feet together slowly, bending into the knees and lifting up the heels really, really high. So you're kind of resting on your heels here. Yes, exactly. And then drop your head down really round into the spine. Take one. And slowly bring your feet down as you lengthen your legs. And slowly, 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 slowly roll yourself out. Coming all the way to rise. You can roll your shoulders at the top if you need to. You might need to roll out the hips a little bit. You can do some of these out or in. I made it seem like we were doing a really big leg workout, and then all of that happened for a big hip opener. Surprise, surprise. We're gonna flesh this out with one more flow, and then we're gonna come onto the mat to stretch everything out. So when you're ready, feet are nice hip width apart, breathing in, arms up. Either prayer or swan dive to fold forward. On plonge pendant l'expiration. On inspire, demi-remontée, halfway lift. Position de planche, chaturanga, your choice. Exhale. Upward dog or baby cobra, breathing in. Really let it out. Exhale. Come back into your plank pose and then drop down onto the knees. Drop down onto your elbows. So now we're on our knees. Our bum is kind of nice up high. And then we're going to extend the legs out behind us and then drop the pelvis down. So this is just a really nice, safe way to get into our Sphinx pose. So your elbows are directly underneath your shoulders. I'm going to move the camera a little bit. Your elbows are directly underneath your shoulders. And your chin is either parallel to the floor or somewhat humble. Humble chin would be that it's bowed slightly. But here we're not thinking about pressing the belly into the floor. It's really the pelvis, the pubic bone, pressing into the floor, therefore activating the musculature in the low back. And only emphasizing that pelvis push. As long as the low back strength can support it. You don't have to make it extra profound in order to feel it. In fact, right now, my belly button is slightly lifted from the floor to relieve some tension. But then when you feel that opening, you can even close your eyes, shoulders out of the ears, and that pressure point of the elbows into the mat, into the earth. Let yourself take 2 more. Really nice and slowly shift over to the left side and then open out your right elbow, and then you're gonna lay down slightly onto your right, and then you're gonna open up your left elbow. So your hands are stacked now, dropping your forehead down, bend into the knees, reverse windshield wiper. Let your feet flop over left to right. And now letting your legs back down long, we're gonna open up the left arm. Fait qu'on ouvre le bras gauche. So your left arm is opening up completely out to the side, and your palm is facing down. On the right side, camera can't show this here, but on the right side, your right hand is going to be right beside your chest, and you're going to press in with your right hand and reach over. So we're opening up the shoulder. I'm showing this on this side so that the camera can capture it. But my right arm, what you can't see is that it's extended long here. So left arm is long, right hand is pressing into the floor. Now, in my case, I can bring my left leg to the back of my left leg. If that's not possible, you can always just rest the leg on top. pressing into the right hand to open up the chest. And then maybe the toes might reach the floor. Maybe the entire foot. Take 2 more on this side. Really nice and slowly make your way back down onto your belly. And take as long as you need to slowly bring your left hand beside your body. So it's going to act as the right one did just before. Right arm extends all the way out, palm facing the floor, pressing and peeling the torso away. Now again, if the foot does not come behind the leg, it can rest in front of the leg. It can rest on the leg, so you're not peeling so much away from the floor. But if the availability is there, try to find a really nice opening in the shoulders. Take 1 more, actually 2 more, excuse me. Again, come back to the floor, nice and slow. And take your time, right hand comes back to you. We've done this many times before. We're gonna open up our legs the distance of the mat. Reach your arms forward in front of you, pressing into the pelvis, engage all of the limbs, lifting up the arms and the legs. Turn the palms to face the floor. Exhale, bring your legs together and squeeze the elbows. On inspire, longueur dans les bras, on ouvre les jambes. Expiration, on ferme les jambes et on colle les coudes vers les côtés. We're going to do another 6. Inhale, reach. Last 2. And 1. Release the effort, bring your hands down underneath your shoulders. On trouve notre position de planche, plank pose, breath in and downward dog, breath out. On inspire par le nez et on dépose les genoux, come down onto your knees, exhale, swing your legs around the body. Keeping your left leg long and your right knee bent. We have 2 options here. Your right foot can stay on the inside of your left thigh, or you can cross your right foot over so that the right foot comes to the outside of the left leg. If this is the case, you can grab, I personally find it a lot easier for balance. Your left arm would wrap around your right leg and your right arm would peel behind you, pressing into the right fingertips. And that's where we find that length because of the hand behind us and the inhale. If we are not in this twist and the foot is on the inside of the leg, you can still grab for your right leg, or your elbow, you can reach your arm up, and elbow can click here right to the outside. And again, c'est vraiment la main en arrière qui trouve la longueur. Continue to push your left heel away from your body. Flex, flex, flex the left foot and hold your twist for 3 more. Crown reaches in the inhale, sits bones sink into the earth, and then exhale, we twist. Last one. On garde les jambes telles quelles. Keep your legs exactly as they are. Gently unhook yourself from your right leg and just counter that twist for a moment. And then come back to center, release it out, take a moment. You might need to reset there for a second. Quand on est prête, même chose l'autre côté, fait que le pied soit à l'intérieur ou à l'extérieur. Flexion in that right foot, so the extended leg is always flexed. And that left arm comes behind us as we wrap the right arm around the left leg. I love this because it really pulls the thigh into the body. It feels like this really nice hug that you're giving the entirety of your upper and lower body. The crown of the head is pulling up while the sits bones are rooting us down. Slowly releasing the effort, on prend notre temps, on garde les jambes exactement comme ils sont, et on twist l'autre côté just to counter it, and then come back to center. Guide your legs forward, you can shake it out, and then scoot your bum forward. And we're gonna find a figure 4. So coming down onto our back or thread the needle, same thing. Right foot extends high to the sky, and then we bend into the knee, bringing the right foot to the left knee. Pied droit, genou gauche, left knee comes towards the body. Les deux mains soit en arrière ou juste en dessous le genou. Hands either behind or just below the kneecap. Avec chaque expiration, le ventre descend. Et on essaie de tirer la jambe gauche vers le corps pendant qu'on pousse le genou droit. Left leg pulls into the body. Right knee pushes away. Take 3. Slowly soften your hands, drop the left foot down, pied gauche en premier sur le tapis, après ça, pied droit. I encourage you either to windshield wiper your knees, or if you'd like, giving yourself a squeeze. We haven't given a hug to ourselves all class, so if you'd like to do that, this is a really nice time. On peut basculer gauche à droite. Et quand on est prête, pied droit sur le tapis, pied gauche vers le ciel. Et on expire, pied gauche sur le genou droit, exactement la même chose. So lift up the right foot, feed your hands through that space. Grasping onto the right knee. Lower behind. Giving our bodies and our systems that sweet little nod. Yes, we are entering the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and response system, to allow the breath and the heartbeat to slow, soften into our edges, and let the last bit of tension melt away. Et quand on est prête, on remet le pied droit sur le tapis, right foot down first, then unhooking the left leg. Again, windshield wiper when you're ready, or give yourself a squeeze. Our last little exercise here, dropping the feet down, hips with distance, les pieds en distance de nos hanches avec les talons très proches de nous. Heels are really, really close to your body. Arms are by your sides. When you're ready, you can come into it nice and slowly. Into your bridge. And keep your arms by your sides. You can walk your shoulders closer together. You can clasp your hands below your bum. Find that length behind your neck. And release the chin from the chest. More. release it down on the exhale. One vertebra at a time, let it find its way onto the mat. Bring your knees into your chest, wrap your arms around your legs, and give yourself a really healthy squeeze here. You can pick up your shoulder blades away from the mat, bringing your forehead closer to your knees. All together, take a deep breath in through your nose, the deepest possible one. Hold the breath, hold the breath, hold the breath. Quand on est prête, on va expirer par la bouche, puis on relâche tout. Exhale, let it go, final Shavasana. Either legs long or knees bent, feet flat on the mat to safeguard the low back, whatever feels best for you. Let yourself just melt away into your Shavasana. Let each muscle, each cell, each fiber of the body soften, release, and get a little heavier here. Only focusing on the expansion of the body as you breathe in, and the compression of the body as you breathe out. Imagining each and every one of your breaths acting as a cleansing, internal sweeping of the house, if you will. Imagine each breath just dusting off, organizing, recalibrating and resetting every system, every organ, every artery. And let yourself take 2 more full cycles of breath. Keeping your eyes closed, taking your time, and really feeling everything that comes into needing to bring your body to one side. So maybe you need to wake up your fingers and your toes a little bit before moving the body. Peut-être on bouge les orteils, les doigts en premier. Mais on garde les yeux fermés pour noter tous les mouvements. Pour rouler sur un côté. Et très lentement, quand on est prêt, on décolle. Slowly peel yourself up and away from the floor. Finding an easy seat as you cross your legs, keeping the spine tall, rolling the shoulders back, eyes are closed. For 3 closing breaths all together, either hands on your knees or hands to your heart. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Open the mouth and let it go. On garde les yeux fermés, le menton vers la poitrine. If you feel comfortable, chin to your chest, eyes are closed. And we take this moment to thank the beautiful practice of yoga for being available to us, for being here for us to practice, to create a deeper relationship with our bodies, to move and to give thanks for our mobility. On prend ce petit moment ici pour remercier notre corps, nos corps qui travaillent pour nous chaque jour, pour nous balancer, pour tous les systèmes digestifs, les systèmes de respiration, de circulation, tous les systèmes en entier. Et c'est moi qui vous remercie comme toujours. Thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing your practice with me, for trusting me and for allowing me the honor to guide you. And as always, I remind you to choose courage over comfort.